Linda and Lee from Chateau Morin.
And Misty the
and
dog.
Misty, who's over there in the corner, next to the Arga, which is now cold, sad to say, because to be fair, we thought the weather was getting warmer, and instead it's got colder.
2 weeks ago we were sitting out in shorts outside. It was that hot.
Oh, we're freezing!
And now we're freezing. We turned the Arga off and
And
planted our seeds
we've got an
up.
electric heater in here as well. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's by the by, and you don't need to know that.
It's for Misty's benefit mainly because she feels the cold.
She does. So saying all of that, I think we'd hoped to be able to be outside today. I think we'd had a vision actually of filming down by the river. It is so cold, I just don't want to go out. So we've decided to be nice and warmish and cosy in the kitchen. So this morning we went shopping, and I think you can probably see some of it on the right hand side. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a moment. I think in general terms, Lee and I were just chatting really and just saying that more and more, well, we're eating more and more vegetables. I think fruit and vegetables now that we live in France. I think, you know, certainly the price of good quality meat is getting higher and higher, there's no doubt about that. So very often when I'm making food choices, when I'm shopping, I'm looking at a piece of meat and thinking, no, do you know what, it's too much. It's just the two of us, it's too extravagant, it's too expensive. And more I'm actually now looking to vegetables for a main course idea.
It's also the same is true for fish, isn't it? Fresh fish is quite expensive.
It's extremely expensive. In fact, we did buy some fish today. It's a treat. I mean, it is absolutely a weekend treat to have a piece of fish. It's certainly not an everyday dish for us. But yeah, the vegetables. So I thought you might be interested to see what I've bought today and how much we paid.
And I'm mainly going to be behind the camera today.
Which is the best place for him, really. Well, he might be allowed back to try some of the food
I'm the sampler,
preparing,
as you can tell,
this afternoon. So one thing that I've noticed that's really important when shopping in France is where everything comes from. It's very, very clearly marked on the shelf. You know, where you're buying the produce. I think more so than I remember it being when we lived in England. I'm not sure, maybe that's changed now. But yeah, you're very clear what the provenance of what you're buying, where something's come from.
There was always the case in England as well. There was an audit trail.
There's always an audit trail, but I mean, as a consumer, Lee, that's what I'm talking about.
Right, okay.
As a consumer, you're made very aware of where your produce is coming from. And today, actually, I've just done a bit of a recce on what the fruit and vegetables that I bought today, that I chose today. And you know what, Lee? Almost without exception, everything comes from Spain.
Just have a look at what you've
Which
got.
I suppose
here.
isn't a surprise, really. But you know, the things that aren't, I think those are French. This is French. This delightful, knobbly young vegetable.
That's celeriac.
Yes, which I'll be showcasing later in my kitchen. And these lovely little strawberries, galiguette. So these are very prized French, very flavourful strawberries. So those, I believe, are French. These blood oranges, Lee. Look at this beautiful.
Hang on, come on.
Load of beautiful blood oranges, which I love. I like blood orange juice actually, and I love them in salads. These are Italian, and everything else here is from Spain, which I suppose isn't a surprise really.
Well, it's a bit further south. Well, it's quite a lot further south, and so the climate is a lot warmer. Oh, they look
actually
nice.
Those beautiful tomatoes are from Morocco.
Can you tilt that a bit, because it's got
Aren't
a
they
lot
lovely?
of glare, yeah.
And do you know what? These cherry tomatoes cost €1.89, which I thought was pretty good value for beautiful. If you see that side, they're all different colours. So I'll be using those. Actually, I'm going to use those with some nice white fish I bought today. I won't be cooking that today, but we'll
Do you know
be
what I'm
having
thinking?
that
I
over the
can't
weekend.
wait till we start growing our own and picking our own again.
Well, I think, you know, going back to the vegetable theme, which we're focusing on today, since we've had the kitchen garden, and I think since we're focusing more and more every year on the kitchen garden and the produce that we're growing, we are definitely eating more fruit and vegetables. So, 2 vegetables as main courses, which Lee and I are increasingly eating, and I have to say, thoroughly enjoying. That's true, isn't it, Lee?
Yep.
I think you're bit of a convert actually to vegetable, increasingly converted, shall we say, to enjoying vegetables more, and I'm certainly enjoying cooking them more and getting a bit more adventurous. So today I'm going to be making 2 vegetable main courses. The first one is going to be made with this lovely root, which is a celeriac. Most of you will probably know this pretty much from a French speciality called celeriac remoulade, which is a dish with grated raw celeriac, mayonnaise, a bit of Dijon mustard, and typically served along slices of thinly sliced Bayonne ham as a starter. That's a classic French starter.
That's the stuff you buy in the supermarket.
It's white in a cellophane
refrigerated compartments.
A salad.
I must just sort of go off piece a little bit here. There was one time you know what I'm going to say, don't you?
I do.
There was
I was going to start chopping this while you talk. Shall I start?
Yeah, you start. Okay, there was one time we were shopping. I'm going to go and get a chopping
board.
Okay.
You talk.
And we have a bit of a rule. You know, we get hungry, we go shopping, and we buy stuff that we see and don't necessarily eat. And the rule is that if you see it and buy it, you eat it. And I thought I was buying this celeriac salad, and it said something like, in English, it was like Museum of Pork, which I had no idea what a Museum of Pork was. So we opened it up, and it was one of the most disgusting things I've ever eaten. And for days it was in the fridge, and Belinda kept saying to me, when are you going to eat your Museum of Pork?
Actually, do you remember it was a family holiday?
It was even a family, worse. And the kids were all on us as well, saying, Lee,
when are you going to
come on, you've got to eat the Museum of Pork. And they used to gather round at meal times, and they'd all have these lovely baguettes and fresh salads, and on my plate would be a plastic pot with Museum of Pork, and they'd all be sitting there waiting for me to eat it. I couldn't bring myself to.
I think to explain it a bit
disgusting.
More, I think it's called Musée de Porc, actually, not museum at all, and I'm actually not sure what it means, but it's a sort of salad with a sort of jellied pork inside of it.
Brains of pork or something.
Not our favourite. So what I'm using to peel this brute, and it is a bit of a brute, I don't be put off by celeriac, it looks ugly but tastes delicious. I'm using this potato peeler, really, this vegetable peeler, to try and hack the worst off. I haven't explained what I'm actually making, have I yet?
No, that might help.
I'm going to make a gratin, really, a gratin of celeriac. So that's all peeled. The thing is with celeriac, it's a vegetable that if you don't deal with it quickly, it will go brown and it won't look very attractive. So what I've got here ready is a bowl of cold water with some lemon juice in it. I've made it pretty with some sliced lemon. You don't need to do that, but I just wanted to indicate it had lemon in it. I'm going to use this trusty cleaver again, and
mind your fingers.
Do you remember when I've done this before?
I know, mind your fingers. Get sound effects with it.
I think I might have to do this off camera because it might be.
In case you.
Well, I might not be here again.
They'll be able to hear
might be the end of
the screaming in the local village.
Why do I always do this with vegetables? I'm going to go over onto the worktop.
Through the square window.
Yeah.
Belinda's just departed the set now. I think you can hear her delicately chopping the celeriac in the background. Yeah. And she's used a very, very elegant knife to do that with. And there she is, back again.
That's better. There we are.
No pain for anyone.
Just that first chop right through the centre. You do need a trusty cleaver for that.
I think that's something that's best done when you're feeling angry.
Do you know, I feel much calmer now, Lee. Thank you for that. So now that I've got control of my celeriac, I'm back in charge again.
You're in control of your celeriac?
Well, the vegetable nearly took over. That helps quite a lot with me, doesn't it? So I'm just going to slice it thinly, and I'm going to place the slices in the iced water. This will take a while, and you might want to go off and make a cup of tea or something. No, don't do that.
How long have you got to do that before it actually starts going brown?
It's not going to take long to go brown, so I really need to do this.
Well, we're talking minutes here.
Oh yeah, gosh, I'm doing it quickly as I can. I want them even because you want it to cook nice and evenly. So there we are. It's rather beautiful, actually, the inside of this.
pink
So the next I'm
watermelon.
going to do is go and get a saucepan, which is behind you, Lee. Came out really quite well organised. There we are. So, place the slices in a large saucepan. I hope it's large enough, Lee. I don't think it is.
I think you're going to be compromised on
think?
space there, Belinda.
Do you know, I think I'm going to use another pan.
Let's get a bigger saucepan.
I'm going to use that one. Does that look big enough?
No, I think
No.
there's one giant celeriac. You've
So
got
there's
there.
one.
How many saucepans?
No, hold
There's
on
a
minute. No,
there's a
hold
gag here. How many saucepans does it take to fill up?
to make
with-
one vegetarian
Oh
meal.
my word!
So this is a big
How many
pan.
are you cooking for? We're not
So there's
allowed
a-
under the COVID rules. We can't have guests or anything.
It's
So
only the two of us.
it looks like I'm going to
Right,
be eating
use those
celeriac
later.
for the next couple of
Oh, I
weeks.
love it. Right, this is all going in here. Oops. I just want to get this very quickly dealt with because I don't want it to discolour. Okay, so that's all in there. Next thing, I'm going to crush 2 large cloves of garlic into that. And then I'm going to cover it, or cover it as much as I can, with 200 mils of milk and 200 mils of double cream. Didn't say it was slimming, this recipe, did I?
No, I wish I hadn't seen this now because
I can't
I didn't
open
know
it.
milk goes
yeah.
into this, and I don't like milk much.
Cooked is lovely though. I mean, you have milk in all sorts
I
of
think
things
the jury's out on that.
that
for
you
me anyway.
probably don't even realise it's in there.
Could be, yeah.
You know. So, for
I'm
example, you know the potato I make like this, the gratin dauphinoise, that's got milk in it.
Yeah, that's true,
And
and I
cream.
really like that.
And you do, you love it.
Well, you know, I had something the other day, which was like, I thought it was tapenade, but it wasn't. It was actually beetroot, made like a tapenade.
Oh, the beetroot I made.
Yeah.
The beetroot pate I made.
Yeah, and beetroot patty. I
lovely.
didn't know what I was eating, and it was really, really nice. And I don't like beetroot. And at the end of it, Belinda said to me, "Do you know what that was?" And I said, "Yeah, it was tapenade." And she said, "No, it was beetroot pate." And I had to leave the room, but it was really nice. But I couldn't believe I'd eat beetroot.
And the last ingredient I'm going to just grate in, and if you've seen me cook before here, I grate nutmeg with a small knife rather than on a grater. I think, again, the risk to life and limb is less, so making sure she looks at the nutmeg, less doing this with a knife than it is doing it with a grater, because if any of you have grated nutmeg on a grater before,
Oh, I've done that.
you've probably grated
All
your
your fingers.
fingers
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
And that's extremely painful, and actually doesn't do the dish any good because it adds a pink tinge. So
This is like cooking
Just,
with the dangerous sister.
yeah. As I said this was good value for money, I think, but I never said it was safe
Was it all easy?
or simple.
Simple. It's a lot of work.
Why
isn't
do
it?
I set myself these
I don't
challenges?
know. You're very good at this. You always could pull it out of the bag, Belinda, but you don't have to put yourself through it.
There we are, that's enough. And the next thing to do is to put this over a medium heat and bring it to the boil. Do you want to have a little look inside and see
Yeah.
what's going on?
Oh yeah. Come on. Let's have a look inside. See what you've done.
So, oh, there you go. It smells wonderful.
Oh, it does
doesn't It's
smell good,
garlicky.
yeah.
It's really fragrant. I actually put a bit more milk in there, Lee, because this recipe is actually for 1 kilo of celeriac, and when I weighed it, it was about 1.2, 1.3. So I've actually added a bit more milk. That's what I'm going to do with this now.
Does celeriac has the same effect on you as artichokes?
And what effect would that be, Lee?
Well,
I think we're
I think
too
we,
delicate to
I
talk
think we
about
understand
that, don't you?
some of the
What's an
effects.
impact on your digestive system?
Yeah,
I can hardly say the words.
The side effect of artichoke are the same, because I'm just thinking if it's the same sort of side effect, there's 1 kilo of that to get
You
through.
might want to eat it by
This
yourself.
could be, this could be a source of alternative energy.
Indeed. So
In
what's
fact,
going
we've got
to...
a wind farm not too far
Indeed.
away. Maybe I could sell some.
I haven't got a clue what he's talking about, boys and girls. So what I'm going to do with this now, it's been cooking for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to turn off the heat, pop the lid on, and just leave it to gently steam in its own warmth, a bit like Lee really. See you in a bit. Okay. So I'm just going to assemble this gratin dauphinoise, whatever we want to call it, layered celeriac dish. Hold on, I'm just going to put this lid over here. Oh, that's lovely. Look at that. It's all nice and softened now. Do you see?
I'll zoom in on that. Yeah, that's really nice.
Smells wonderful. If
Can you just hold that back up again? I didn't get to see it. Is it soft in there now?
It's really lovely. It's softened. It'll soften further in the oven. So what I'm going to do now, Lee, is just because I'm a bit of
it's an interesting dish.
a perfectionist. I mean, you could just chuck this all in, but actually, you know me, I like to do things properly. So I will be layering this nicely in this dish. Now, this dish, actually, of note, of interest, Lee said, "Oh, you've still got the label on it," but actually, that label's printed into the porcelain. These are widely available in France from the deli counters, and they are pâté dishes. They're what they sell, Lee. You know when they sell the big pâtés?
I've seen you, yeah.
Yeah, this is what they serve the giant pâtés out of, and they typically sell them when they don't need them anymore for a couple of euro each. They're really cheap. So I've got quite a few of them now. I'm just going to layer with some salt and pepper. This will take a little while, so I'm going to fill the gratin dish with the slices of now softened celeriac, and I'll see you when it's done. Now this recipe calls for some Gruyere cheese. Actually, it says to put the whole lot on the top. I think it's quite a lot. This is 150 grams of grated Gruyere. So what I'm going to do is, I've made most of the layers, but I'm actually going to put some of the cheese in the dish itself, because I think it's going to be you know, a massive crust of cheese on the top. Mind you, who cares about a massive crust of cheese? I would like that. But it might be nice to have some melty cheese through the dish as well. So that's just what I'm doing here, is putting a layer in. If you've not eaten celeriac cooked like this before, I really recommend giving it a try. It's got the most delicious nutty savoury flavour. Lee, you were talking about Jerusalem artichokes, actually. You were joking about them earlier on, weren't you?
Yeah.
So not to be confused with globe artichokes, which are the green, rather looking like big flowers, aren't they, that you peel the leaves off. I'm not fond of them, actually, to be honest.
You just peel the leaves and then they dip the leaves in alioli and then suck them. It's really nice.
You love them.
They're really nice, yeah.
But anyway, Jerusalem artichokes are, I'm struggling to remember the French name for them here. I saw them actually in the supermarket this morning. Tambour, something like tambour. That's it, Tambour, they're called here, tambour. And they're rather knobbly. In fact, they do look very much like small celeriac, Lee. You could be right about that. Watch out, Belinda. Right, I've nearly finished with all these lovely slices of, softened aromatic celeriac, which have been steeped in cream, milk, garlic, nutmeg. What's not to like? Okay, I'm going to give it a little bit more seasoning. Black pepper's really important in a dish like this, because you do want to add that savoury, peppery note. And lastly, I'm going to pour the remaining, so you can see that, and that's just the cream and the milk that everything was cooked in. I'm just going to pour that over the top.
So that is like dauphinoise.
It is. This is very much like a dauphinoise, actually. It is. It's
celeriac
dauphinoise. Look, and there's all the garlic. I don't want to miss that, do we? Actually, I need a spoon, don't I, to get that out. Use this slotted spoon that I didn't end up using. And then on the top, the rest of the grated cheese. And I'm going to pop it in the oven. It's quite a low oven. It's 170 degrees. That's about 150 fan. It's about gas mark 3. and pop it in
It looks really nice, Belinda.
for, it does look nice, doesn't it? What does it say here?
Will that
About
get a
30
nice
minutes.
brown crust on it afterwards?
Yeah. So that's going to go in the oven now. While the gratin dauphinoise, I was going to say the celeriac dauphinoise, same difference, just made with celeriac, not potatoes, is cooking in the oven. I'm going to make our vegetable dish, main course dish number 2, and I'm going to use an ingredient very beloved of Lee and I, which is asparagus. Now, I've got to be honest, I'm going to come clean, I've not made this before. Lee and I do love asparagus very much, but I do end up pretty much making it in the same old way every time. And I just thought today I'd like to make the asparagus the star of the show, which it typically always is, and just showcase it in something new, but something simple and sustaining and filling as a main course. So I found a recipe, Lee, for pasta with asparagus and lemon.
Just to come back to something you were saying earlier, is the asparagus French or is it
the
Spanish?
Asparagus is Spanish.
Spanish, yeah, because they're much further south.
The lemon is
we're starting to see
Spanish.
That. Yeah, we're starting to see asparagus coming up in the supermarket.
And it's much more reasonable. Now, a few weeks back, 2 or 3 weeks ago, today I paid €2.49 for this bunch, which I considered to be an okay price to pay for a bunch of asparagus. It's 200 and, is it 500 grams? It's quite a lot, isn't it?
It's
anyway,
quite a lot, yeah,
that
for
might be,
€2.
I've got I'll weigh that actually, because I'm interested to know how much it is. It's 500 grams. That's pretty good. So that puts it at about €5 a kilo, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And the white asparagus, again today that has come down in price. Do you know, again, I think it was 3 weeks ago I saw it, and it was €8 for a small bunch of white asparagus, and today that has come down to about 3 or 4. So it is becoming obviously more seasonal, and pretty soon we'll be getting French asparagus. Anyway, that's why I bought it, because it wasn't €8, it was €2.50. So I'm going to make this pasta dish with asparagus and lemon.
I like that pasta.
This is lovely, isn't it?
I really
know.
like that.
And I thought that would be a really suitable shape to go with the long pieces of asparagus. I just thought it would look lovely together. Yeah. So I need, that's 500 grams, I need about half of that, but I will weigh it. I like to weigh ingredients. I'm a bit of a perfectionist with that, and I also avoid waste. I think it's so easy just to chuck a whole bag of pasta in a pan and end up with a load left over and then having to deal with the leftovers. So, which I'm good at doing too, but I'm going to be more precise today. So the recipe actually calls for, it's an American recipe, so it calls for 8 ounces, and I've converted that to 225 grams. And this is for 3 people, Lee, so that means you'll get
extra
1.5 portions.
Great.
So 225, and I've got a pan of water boiling on the hob, which should be pretty much, there you go, pretty much ready now. So I'm going to pop that in and get that cooking straight away. Pick up sticks. Do you remember those?
I do.
You could play, actually you could play that with asparagus.
The only problem is, as it goes round and round, it becomes less and less, because I actually quite like eating raw asparagus.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, you might be getting some in a minute. It might be a bit chewy. So now to the asparagus.
You know,
I'm just looking over to the pasta, which is boiling over. Hold on a minute.
What? Oh, kitchen disaster. While Belinda's dealing with that, I've got to tell you, I once had a meal with someone who I used to think was quite sophisticated, and they ordered asparagus, as did I, and then they chopped the asparagus tips off and threw it away and just ate the chunky stems. And I thought it would be rude to say anything, so I just didn't, and I kept thinking, I wonder if you've done that all your life. Anyway, the way I take... she's back with her cleaver.
My cleaver. The way I take the woody stems off asparagus is feel for the break point. That's it. Do you do that, Lee?
Well, no, actually, I'm lucky. I've got a beautiful wife that does it all for me.
So, typically that's what I do. You'll find a point at which it breaks easily. I'm not going to waste these, by the way.
Oh.
No, you know me.
Note to self: nothing gets wasted in the kitchen of Belinda. Believe me, nothing.
What you're not be making with this, guess, Lee?
Soup.
Soup.
Yeah, I know you're going to do it. Yeah.
Because you can make a really very nice asparagus soup just with the bits and pieces that are too tough to pop into the main course. So I will see you in a while when I've clicked my way through these stems. Right, I'm done. And what I'm going to do now is to just chop the asparagus up into shorter lengths. And I think what I'm going to do, Lee, is to make them a similar length to the pasta so that they eat well together and look good together. So that's rather too many, isn't it? How long was that pasta, do you reckon?
Oh, put a timer
Up
on
there?
the pasta. It's simmering
No,
away.
I'm talking about the length.
Oh,
That's about right.
yeah, it's about 75 mil.
Like that.
Yeah, that looks good.
So I'm going to chop this into lengths so it looks right in the dish altogether. So that's into about 3, isn't it?
Yes.
Do those into 3. And then what happens with these is they get lightly steamed just in a bit of water, not too much water, just to soften them a bit. And then they get treated to some butter and garlic, which is a very nice treatment for vegetables, Lee, wouldn't you?
It's a very nice
Wouldn't you
treat
say?
for me. I like butter and
Vegetables
garlic.
like to be treated with butter and garlic.
Are you telling me I'm a vegetable?
Was it animal, was it vegetable or mineral?
Animal, vegetable or mineral?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, if you had to
Jury's
be
out.
if you had to be a vegetable, what would you be?
Me?
No, don't answer that.
Oh, I'd be a pineapple. Oh no, that's fruit.
That's a fruit.
Oh dear, I did go to school. What would I be if I was a vegetable? Tomato.
A tomato. Yeah, I like.
But then tomatoes are officially fruit.
They're
aren't
fruit
they?
as well. Yeah.
See, I can't get away from
you
being
can't even
fruity.
be. No, you're just a fruity
I'm
girl,
too
really,
fruity.
aren't you?
I know, that's me. Yeah. Cool, that's done. So I've steamed, after averting the disaster of the water boiling over there, I've drained the pasta. I don't want to overcook it today because my glasses are steaming up. Because Lee and I genuinely are going to be having this for dinner tonight, so we don't want it overcooked.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
good.
why not? We'll have it for dinner
Oh,
tonight.
yeah.
So I
That's
don't want
lovely.
this overcooked. So I really made this al dente so we can heat it up later and it won't be too soft. So that's all ready. And what I've done is to save some of the starchy pasta water, because to soften the mixture up basically and to make it more pleasing when the time comes to
Sorry, what are you
put
going
the
to do
dish
with
together.
the saved water?
So
then?
what you do is when you put the pasta together with the asparagus and mix it all together, it can be dry because the pasta dries out because it's cooling down now.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
actually going to get dry. So you need to add back a little bit of the starchy water, and that really helps the sauce. And it amalgamates with the butter and the garlic and the asparagus and makes it really nice and saucy.
That's a neat
So that's what I'm going to
tip.
do.
I never knew you did that.
Oh yes. So
I've
over on
never
the
done
hob at the moment, Lee, I've put the chopped up asparagus. It's in about 1/2 inch of water over there, and I'm just going to cook it for a few minutes until it's bright green and it's just tender.
Is that what they call al dente?
It could be al dente, of course it could. Yes, it is al dente, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh,
there's my
and there's
timer.
timely timer.
Off I go. This certainly smells lovely. It smells so fragrant. And I think, Lee, this is ready.
Can we have a look at that?
Yeah, it's bright green and look, it's tender. If you pierce it with the knife, it's tender to the touch. So I'm going to just turn that gas off for a second. I'm going to drain this, Lee, and then I'm going to come back to the hob and show you what I do next. So I've drained the asparagus, and what I'm going to do now is saute the asparagus in some butter and garlic. And I've got 2 tablespoons of butter here. This is salted butter. You could use unsalted because you'll season later, obviously. But I tend to cook with salted butter, lightly salted. And then I've got 2, well actually I've got 3 because they're not so big, cloves of garlic, Lee. I'm just going to crush those in. You could eat it just like this, couldn't you, actually? It'd be lovely.
I could eat it right now, but
I know.
to be honest, I'm starving.
What would you...
That's one of the worst things about filming you cooking, and I can smell it
And it's just so delicious.
and look at it and the colours and the smells, and my stomach's rumbling. I'm sorry if you can hear some creaky noises in the soundtrack. It's me.
Okay.
I said creaky, not cranky.
So I'm going to just take this back over to the hob and saute this for a couple of minutes.
Did you say saute or flambe?
Flambe. This gas is a bit volatile this afternoon. It sounds a bit like you.
You and
I think it's windy.
excuse me. Excuse them what?
Right, okay.
If I'd made that comment about you, I would have got a right ear.
I love this gas hob, just to change the subject.
It doesn't love you though. You always seem to have a problem with the cooker, Belinda.
A bit volatile.
It's you versus the cooker. Fortunately, you win.
I'm going to get some seasoning actually.
Back with the seasoning.
The back with the seasoning, and you don't want to burn this garlic, so really this needs to be done quite rapidly. Yeah, because burnt garlic tastes horrible.
Yeah, it would ruin the whole dish actually.
So let's just make sure this has got plenty of pepper. Again, get some nice flavour in this. Oh, that smells wonderful, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what's next after this then?
Well, do you know what? Literally, the next thing you do is just mix this with the pasta, and that is it. Oh, and then you put a finishing touch, which is lemon rind, zest of lemon, and I'm going to add some parsley. Done. I'm going to take that back over to the table and combine it with the pasta. There we go. So pop the pasta in. You see it's turned a bit dryly.
Oh yeah.
So what I'm going to do is combine that, try and get the stray pieces in, and just mix it in with a little bit of the water. Actually, I might take that back to the hob. Oh no, I don't need to actually, that's fine. Just to make sure there's enough sauce to combine the two together.
Would you like the lid for that as well in a minute?
No, I don't need the lid at the moment. And then the next thing, there you are.
Hang on a minute, can you hold that up? Because that looks actually really, really nice.
So that's all combined like that.
Let me just get that in there.
And then the next step is to obviously make sure it's seasoned, but actually I did season the asparagus quite well and I can see quite a lot on there. So I think I'm going to leave it there and let you season it on the plate if you want some more. I'm going to add the rind of this lemon. Now this is a really good quality lemon that I've washed, because obviously I'm using the zest.
So it's an unwaxed lemon.
Yeah, and I'm using this really nice zester, which is my favourite zester. So get that all in there like that. And then what I'm going to do is cut the lemon in half and squeeze the juice over the entire dish. So cut that in half like that. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Look at that, it's a lovely one. Really nice and fresh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely. There's nothing worse than a lemon that's gone past its best. And the taste and smell is horrible.
I'm fishing
Sounds
because there's
like
a joke.
women,
I was going to say there's a joke in this
Yeah,
somewhere,
I said
but
it
I'm going
myself. I
to
said
show
it
a bit of
myself.
restraint, I think.
Slice the lemon, squeeze the fresh juice over the pasta. Do, do, do. That, my dear, is it. So I'm going to pop it into this serving dish.
Excuse me, are you going to put some parsley on that as well?
I am, but I'm going to put it in the dish first.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I should shut up, shouldn't I?
No. We're a welcome addition to any kitchen.
Oh.
And do you know what, Lee? I just heard that timer go off.
Yeah.
And I think that other
I think this
celeriac dish is ready as well. Excuse fingers, table's clean. Oops, that's that done.
Well, I'm just going to...
Oh!
Your glasses, Stina. It's, once again, it's Belinda versus the oven, and the oven's winning.
Look at that, boys and girls.
Oh, that looks good.
Mm.
That looks good.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, that looks really good.
So let me just take that over to the table. That looks amazing. Have you seen these before? think I've shown you.
Yeah, you have. I remember you
my
saying
herb
to
scissors.
people
I'm
about
just going
your
to
herb scissors.
pop some parsley on top of this one. I mean, you could put basil on this. That would be nice as well, actually.
Basil would be nice with the
Some
lemon.
fresh
and
basil
that, yeah.
would be lovely with the lemon if you've got some. But we've nearly always got parsley, haven't we? So
Well, we're growing
just
basil
pop
in the
some on the
potager.
top
So,
like that.
so I'm just trying to get in.
And
on
there you go. There's your two dishes. So you've got celeriac dauphinoise and asparagus with pasta and fresh lemon.
They both look absolutely delicious.
And you know, both really
and I've
cost
got those
effective.
for tea tonight.
And do you know what? I think probably what we would do with this one, to be absolutely fair, I think we might, you might like a piece of meat with this one, Lee. I think you might have I don't know, a small steak or a pork chop or something like that.
This is getting better.
Nice.
My day is getting better.
But two lovely vegetarian dishes made very quickly.
Right.
Would you
What
like
we got
some
there?
now?
Oh, we definitely like some
So,
of this, please.
what I'm going to do, I've got this nifty little dish here, look, which I bought as a vegetable dish to serve at table with separate compartments. So I thought you could use this. So you could
That's very
have
good.
a bit of this one in one side. Oh, this looks so yummy. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
Belinda's
look at
doing that. I thought what
Creamy.
would complement this really nicely
Yum, yum,
is I've got a
yum.
bottle of Les Accords from a well-known
Smells lovely.
producer, and this is a local, well, not local, but it's a dry white wine, and it's made up of two grape varieties. It's an unoaked Chardonnay and a Viognier, but it's quite a dry, not too fruity, and I think it should complement this quite well. So I'm going to just have a little mouthful of that.
Oh, my head's cut off.
There you are.
Can't have your head cut off.
Cheers.
So you're going to drink this first?
Yeah. Cheers.
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 Ooh. Actually, that's really quite nice.
It's nice, yeah. It's a biologic wine as well, which is quite nice, yeah. So, so what should I try first? I think I'll go into the
okay.
celeriac actually.
Look at that
Oh, the
cheese.
cheese.
Is it sublime?
Oh. You know, when you watch these programs on TV and they always go, "Oh, we had a food." This is truly, really is nice. Let's try some.
Yeah.
I think you were right to use the Gruyere.
That's good.
It's good, isn't it? Let's try this pasta and asparagus.
That's good. Is it good? With the lemon? That's the first time.
Oh, that's a staple, that is. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I'm
everyone.
making you feel hungry. This is so good. Listen, you're going to have to leave me
Lovely.
savouring this. So, I hope you've enjoyed this. Oh, as much as I'm enjoying this.
I've just got to interject slightly. Do you know that would be really nice as a salad as well?
Oh yeah, in the summer.
In the summer, you could make that, with a little bit of vinaigrette, make that into a lovely, lovely salad. So, sorry, I'm just going to stop eating it so we can talk.
Yeah.
So, on that note, thank you ever so much. We didn't intend to be in the chateau kitchen today, but here we are yet again. It's always a good fallback plan, certainly for me and you.
And next door, we've got a roaring fire going. It's that cold.
Yeah. So we've got a nice cosy evening planned. We've got plenty to eat, and thank you as always for watching us in the Chateau Kitchen. We will aim to be outdoors the next time. We do have some plans to show you our beautiful riverside, which is right at the bottom of the chateau. It's quite a long way down, and it's a lovely river walk, and there's some very interesting features which we will reveal.
Well, there's
In
an
a future
ancient tumbling down
vlog.
old mill, and you've got to cross a weir to get to it by foot.
Anyway,
And I'm
Lee's gonna do
prepared
that.
to take the risk. But we're waiting for the water level to die down a bit at the moment. It's quite high.
Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
Tell all your friends. Do subscribe.
I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I'm enjoying this.
And we'll see you very soon. Bye from the Chateau
Bye.
Kitchen. Cheers.